The Eyes and Ears AU, the beloved alternate reality created by InTheLittleWood that most fans know as the Watcher lore. I did a part 1 starting to explain all of the lore in the AU. If you didn't see it and you would like to, there will be a link in the description. And now here's part 2 where I will explain everything else up to date until the next Life series season comes out, which is really soon. So, bad timing on my part. Anyways, let's get back into it. Real life. I know real life is a very debatable topic in the fandom, where some people consider it canon and others don't. In the Eyes and Ears AU, however, it is actually not canon. Martyn has stated it is not canon, just a silly fourth wall break April Fool's video. Wildlife. Continuing the repeated pattern of changing the gimmick for each death game, the Watchers created Wildlife to have a different gimmick each week. You may think this is a little weird lore-wise, seeing as each season only had one gimmick, not 7. The reason for this is that there are actually more games happening in between each season that we don't see and the players don't remember. I know, it's wild. I'm sorry. The players don't remember these other games because they weren't as fulfilling to the watchers as the other games that we have seen are. Like, you know how sometimes you're about to eat a meal that looks delicious and then after you eat it, it wasn't as good as you thought it would be? That's basically what it was like for the watchers in these other games. Snail life did exist, but it was probably too short and the emotions probably weren't as delicious after the players got used to the snails. Huh, gem, huh! As a result of all of these failed game mechanics, the Watchers decided to combine a bunch of them, creating Wildlife. Many of you might have noticed that Grian was way more Watcher this season, and you're right.
Jimmy, the Canary Curse has been following you.
Because of the power struggle war that the Watchers and listeners are currently having, it allows Grian to have more freedom as a Watcher. While he's also getting better at mastering his powers. Specifically, he was able to actually look at the rules for this game, which is usually hidden by the Watchers. You know how throughout the whole season Impulse was acting more, well, impulsive? Surprise! That's because of the Watchers. Not only do the Watchers take away the player's emotions, but they can also leave specific emotions, even from games that they do not remember. Like with Impulse, he has been close to winning since like Double Life. And apparently, since he does not remember and we did not see this happen, he has gotten close in multiple other games as well. So, for fun, I guess, the Watchers decided to leave that pang of getting second place in Impulse for this game, which caused him to act way more reckless than usual. And we know how that turned out.
No!
Another big reveal that Martyn talked about is how the Canary Curse is actually not a real curse, just a metaphorical one that the Watchers like to enforce. After Third Life, they didn't place any actual curse on Jimmy and just sit back and watch him die first over and over again. They were the ones making him die first. But sometime between Secret Life and Wildlife, the Watchers were like, this is getting old. We can stop torturing him with our made-up curse now. Meanwhile, Jimmy was like, woo, freedom! In sessions 7 and 8, when the zombies showed up, they weren't themselves. They were basically mindless, emotionless husks who kind of looked like the dead players, specifically with zombie Martyn. After he died, the Watchers immediately stripped him of all emotion, and that's why he didn't recognize Ren, or should I say Martyn, who I should also explain. Martyn was created when Ren took Martyn's DNA right before he was killed. Ren couldn't fully change back, being stuck as half Ren and half Martyn, including both of their consciousness, which was, of course, the doing of the Watchers. They were like, hey, Watcher Ted, what if we torture Ren a little bit more? I don't think he has enough trauma. That sounds great, Watcher Fred. What if we stick part of Martyn's consciousness in him because he's gonna miss him so much? Yeah, that'll definitely add more trauma. Good idea, Watcher Ted. You guys know how the listeners are against the Watchers and actively have helped the players in the past? Well, they're actually also trying to help the lifers escape. It's still unclear what their true motives are since Martyn keeps saying that the listeners aren't necessarily the good guys. The last big thing that was revealed is about something called the Council. Supposedly, there are other beings than just the Watchers and the listeners. Together, they make out this Council of 8, which consists of 2 Watchers, 2 listeners, and then 4 other beings that we do not know. At some point, for some reason that we also do not know, the Watchers purposely exiled themselves and then created the life games. Martyn described the council room with something like this. But the main thing to know is that there's a tome in the middle of the table that all of these beings believe is the most important thing ever. What is it? We have no idea. But there's also a staircase behind the table that leads to another tome that is apparently even more important than the one that they think is so important. Why is this tome so important? Again, no idea. Martyn loves to keep tempting us with these lore drops and then not fully explaining them. Thanks, Martyn! Now we come to the topic that I feel like a lot of you are wondering about because I know I am. Is Scar still stuck in Secret Life? If those of you don't know what I'm talking about, Scar said and showed this at the end of his last wildlife episode.
Until next time, we'll see you later. Gotta go tend to some sunflowers in my other world. Shadow people, you're on my friends.
What? Here's what Martyn had to say about this topic.
Are you canonizing Scar lore or nah? I think no, only because it's not happening in my POV. I mean, I guess maybe actually no, tell you what, I guess I kind of already have, right? Didn't I sit there and like do the whole thing about like, oh, like imagine Scar's left in that world and he's bashing the button and, you know, trying to, you know, kill himself repeatedly and it doesn't work, it doesn't end the game, and he's just stuck there and this, that, and the other. I kind of feel like that did happen, you know, in my AEU, but I would say that did happen. It drove him to like absolute like despair and psychosis and this, that, and the other. Then they plucked him away from there. They put him into the infinite void to, you know, essentially heal and reset. And then they threw him into wildlife. So I would say it is canon, I guess, in that regard. But the whole going and taking care of the sunflowers quote, I obviously didn't hit that in my POV. But, you know, I think the idea that he got stuck in the Secret Life world for a while after, I think yes, basically.
If you're still confused, I was too a little bit. I think what Martyn is trying to say is that obviously Scar getting stuck in Secret Life is canon, but Scar's lore at the end of his wildlife vid is not necessarily canon. Martyn, I'm sorry if I'm not 100% right, that's just how I understood it. However, and this is just my opinion, since Martyn also gave such an inconclusive answer, I feel like we can interpret it as canon since it is just adding on to the original lore that Martyn came up with about Scar being stuck, and it doesn't contradict anything else in the AU. So here's my theory about Scar's lore. So according to Martyn, the Watchers finally let Scar go after who knows how long, and he finally got rest in the void. Well, what if, because we know more games happen, and it is likely that at least one happened in between Secret Life and Wildlife, Scar was still resting in the void and wasn't in those in between games. We know they all need a certain amount of rest, and after what Scar went through, it makes sense that he would need longer than usual. And everyone else wouldn't think that it's weird that Scar isn't there in these next games because some players have been absent from games here and there. What if Wildlife is the first game that he is ready for? And then obviously we know what happens, and then after he dies for the final time, the Watchers throw him straight back into the empty world of Secret Life. And what if this is how it is going to be from now on? Scar sits out for a few games, then he's thrown back into one after he's had enough rest, and then straight back into Secret Life and repeat. And then the shadow people are my friends thing, I'm guessing he's talking about the Watchers. My theory is that the Watchers are appearing to Scar as shadow people and claiming that they are his only friends and that they care about him and blah blah blah. But that's just my theory. I really do hope one day Scar actually explains what it means, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Simple life. Okay, I know. I said that real life is not canon, so why would simple life be canon? Well, based on the fact that we learned that there are more games, Martyn has confirmed that there have been repeat winners. Again, this is just my theory, but maybe Simple Life is one of the other games, or even just the gimmick of another failed game. But it's mostly the fact that Scott won that is making me theorize that this is the case, or at least confirming to us that Scott is one of the many repeated winners. Not like we could have guessed that at all or anything. But that's it for now. I really hope that this video is helpful, and I would love to hear you guys' theories in the comments. And if there's any questions, I will do my best to answer them, but I highly suggest also checking out Martyn's lore stream VODs, which will be in the description. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!